Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 20th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm going to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Let's have a look at ES. ES, we actually have 60-minute buy signal fix on Friday, and that seems to be playing out at the moment, although there was some news overnight that has had an impact, but I think has been basically walked back. But I'll come to that when I'm talking about oil. But we've got a 6-minute buy signal fixed here, and we're not at the possible near miss target yet. No obvious reversal pattern. Could be a bear flag for me. In terms of NQ, we've got this nice looking falling wedge here. Obviously, we've fallen out of the possible triangle I was looking at, but we've got this nice looking falling wedge here. This kind of looks like a bullish underthrow. I am wondering whether we're going to head back to the resistance on it. We will see. RTY. Got a fully formed head and shoulders here, but it hasn't broken down yet. YM, the head and shoulders formed fully and broke down with a target in the 5780 area, but obviously could be rejecting, and we've got a weak 6-minute buy signal fixed there too. DAX, falling wedge here. Morning, George. DAX, we've got a nice looking falling wedge here, and that is now starting to break up. This could be a bull flag. ESTX, we've got possible head and shoulders forming, I suppose. Nikkei, we've got a falling megaphone from the high. Again, this could be a flag. Again, this could be a bullish underthrow. And again, I'm wondering if we're heading back towards the resistance here. I'm just going to recap the first four quickly. ES, we've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed, and we're trying to get back over the weekly pivot at the moment. No obvious reversal pattern here. NQ, got a nice looking falling wedge, and I'm wondering whether we are heading back to a test of the wedge resistance, which I've currently got in about the 29,900 area. RTY, we formed a full head and shoulders here, but that hasn't broken down, and at the moment, obviously, it might not. And YM, we've broken down from head and shoulders here with a target in the 5780 area, and I'm wondering whether that's rejecting back towards the highs. We shall see. We've certainly got unfinished business above. That doesn't mean it's going to survive the news, but nonetheless, we've got an unfinished business above. So I'm watching that. In terms of what happened on Friday, we broke below the daily middle band on ES, and we broke below the daily middle band on SPX, and we broke below the daily middle band on Dia. This actually leaves us, because the Qs were already under the daily middle band, and so was IWM, well, actually left us on Friday with all four of the US indices underneath the daily middle band. Now, the obvious day to reject higher from that and to fail the breakdown would, of course, be today. So I'm watching to see what happens. We've got a bullish leaning day today, quite strongly leaning bullish, but we've got a bearish leaning day tomorrow, and it's neutral for the rest of the week. We shall see how that goes. On Dia, of course, we also broke down below this rising wedge support, which was something I've been watching out for, and potentially that is bearish, but it isn't necessarily immediately bearish. In terms of the Qs, we reached the 3SD lower band, or very, very close to it. That's suggesting consolidation or possibly a sustained rally. We will see how that goes. Nothing really on the hourly charts, I don't think. Nope. This could be a bullish triangle forming on SPX that I've sketched out. Why do we have unfinished business above? Because of this head and shoulders, which broke down and fell, and we've got another one on the Q. These have a target and a retest of the prior high, which is the all-time high, and that's why I'm thinking we may well do that. This is the head and shoulders on the Qs, and we haven't made that yet. That looks like unfinished business above until we make it, unless we see a hard breakdown. Looking at the Dia chart on the hourly and the 15-minute, no divergence, but you can see that we've now broken clearly below the rising wedge support on the let's move up from the late March lows. So watching that with interest. And watching to see whether the head and shoulders, which here is broken down with a target in the 510 area, will make a target. If we do get down to that kind of area, then I would note that the 512, 513 area is a possible head and shoulder neckline as well. We could build a larger pattern and continue down. All right, great. Let's have a look at IWM. And looking at IWM, we've got on the daily chart, we were already below the daily middle band, didn't make a huge amount of progress to the downside. We've still got RSI 14 daily sell signals fixed across the board, of course. I'm thinking that ideally we'd go back up and retest some highs before those played out, but it could be, of course, that news is going to drag us down without that happening. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. On the 15-minute chart, obviously this rising wedge again from the late March low has now firmly broken down, and we've got a nice looking head and shoulders which has formed after that, though it hasn't broken down yet. Looking at DAX, DAX is well below the daily middle band as well. Overall, this is already a pretty nice looking double top. Nikkei, we have moved down here, and we did actually manage to reach a possible head and shoulder neckline, or got very close to it. Therefore, if we say bounce here and that respects the daily middle band, then this could be a head and shoulders right shoulder forming. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX. Now, DX in previous cycles of war, we were seeing quite a lot of weakness on strength on DX. We've not really been seeing that so far, but we've got a nice looking bull flag here, and the next obvious target is the flag resistance in about the 101 area. Looking at the other currency pairs, not a lot to see. Looks like a bear flag on USD, decent looking rising megaphone on GBP USD. USD JPY trying slightly to break up through this triangle. It should be a bullish triangle setting up a retest this high, which of course isn't actually far above. USD CAD, keeping an open mind, 6-minute buy signals reaching the possible near miss target. Australian dollar kind of looks like bear flag. NZ actually is an inverted head and shoulders which is broken up, so I'm waiting. The bearish move here would be, of course, if that fails back into the lows. Bullish move, of course, it makes the target in the 59.63 area. All right, looking at ZB, I was speculating on the bigger picture webinar last night that we could see a decent rally here, and we do have a pretty decent looking inverted head and shoulders forming here, and we formed the right shoulder last night. On ZN, we already had a right shoulder, and we had broken up, but possible this could be an alternate right shoulder, but I think I'm sticking with the existing head and shoulders for the time being. That's broken up already with a target in the 110.12 area. All right, oil. Now, we had an interesting decline overnight. You can see that here and there. I've found out the reason for this decline, which was we actually went down $5, which was quite an impressive decline. And the reason for that was a US-backed Qatari proposal of a 10-day ceasefire that would halt US strikes on Iran in exchange for Iran opening 2 Hormuz shipping lanes. But the Iranians rejected it out of hand because they've exited the MOU, such as it was, and said they're not prepared to negotiate with the US anymore. So that has given us this big decline and has given us this big rally afterwards. So probably going to see this just head straight back to where it was last night. We will see how that goes. All right, great. In terms of coil, we haven't reached the I'm wondering if we might reach the sell signal targets on the hourly, but that will require going further down. And we reached pretty much the possible near miss target here, but it didn't last into the end of the hour. And as you can see, we've given over half of this move back. So basically, this move down was insiders who knew about a proposed ceasefire deal, which might have had a shot. All this has done really is we've broken over this declining resistance and we've backtested it. So that's not, that's not inherently bearish in the slightest. HO, we've got a 6-minute sell signal fix, and that's now reached the possible near miss target. Again, we saw a sharp decline here. We've given, that's taken most of it back already. And RBOB, we've still got a 6-minute sell signal fixed, having just survived the weekend. So, and we are still pretty close to the highs. NG, we're forming a potential inverted head and shoulders, double bottom here, and I'm taking that seriously. It's kind of overdue for a rally, so I am wondering if that might deliver, but I wouldn't be that surprised to see this just continue down. Looking at GC, GC, we haven't quite retested this low yet. No low, no double bottom. So I'm still leaning towards seeing a low retest there. SI has already retested the low. Palladium has now broken down from the bear flag, and I'm wondering about a retest of the low. Platinum broke down from the bear flag there and almost made it to the retest of the low, and I'm wondering about that there too. HG is still holding solidly above base bear flag support, and it's not really correlated strongly with the others in any case. This, I think, is likely to go down if equities go down. All right, let's have a look at KC. KC, this looks like a bullish consolidation. SB, we've got a double top that's broken down here and could be failing, although I'm leaning marginally towards the downside here. On CC, we've got a head and shoulders here, reasonable quality, which is broken down with a target in the 4400 area, and waiting to see if that will deliver. Looking at lumber, we actually broke this rising support trend line, but I'm not sure that means a great deal. Still leaning towards seeing a retest of this high here in the 645 area. On CT, we saw an IHS, it broke up and it fell. That's got a pretty clear target at a retest of the low. So until we see strong evidence to the contrary, I'm looking for a retest of this low in the 75.2 area. ZW, pretty close to resuming the uptrend. Corn starting to resume the uptrend, I think. Soy already resumed the uptrend. ZL leaning towards seeing a retest of this high next here in the 74.6 area. Live capital and lean hogs, I've actually changed they've upgraded my charting of this quite a bit, and I've rolled this into October. So I've now got this spread over 9 months, which hopefully at some stage I'll be able to do longer periods with the others as well. But I can do that here, and here that gives us a much clearer picture where we've got a head and shoulders, which is broken down with a target in the 204.45 area, and we've got a possible weak 60-minute buy signal brewing. And on lean hogs, we've got an IHS, which is broken up with a target in the 92.5 area. I'm a little surprised to see these two heading off fairly strongly in opposite directions. We may well find one of these patterns fails and rejoins the direction of the other. So we shall see. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. Yeah, the Houthis are in now. Really, this war is escalating, and it's escalating fairly rapidly. The Iranians aren't really interested in talking, and honestly, who can blame them? We every time they're in talks, the Americans attacked, and it's the joy of dealing with Trump, obviously. But I think the Houthis are on board. Kuwait, I'm wondering if we're going to see the Iranians basically use Kuwait as an example for the rest of the Gulf, i.e., knock out most of or all of their water desalination to demonstrate what they could be doing in the rest of the Gulf, and then threaten basically to do that to the UAE as well. It wouldn't be that hard to do. I'm pretty sure they could do it. That obviously could give us an interesting week. The US were talking about scaling up their attacks this week. Obviously, that could make things rather more exciting as well. So, not seeing any particular reason to think that we're going to start seeing oil reversing down anytime soon. The best shot probably was this ceasefire, but it's not that surprising the Iranians have rejected it. They'll probably be rejecting future ones unless it comes with a concrete offer or actually some significant amount of their own money released with it to show some evidence of sincerity. All right, great. In that case, I think it's a wrap. Are we looking at a bottom in metals? I think we might well be close. But GC probably needs a low retest, and I'm wondering whether platinum's going to need one too. Could we go straight up from here? Yes. Technical setup would be slightly better if we did do the low retest on gold and we got really, really close. I'm liking this high. I'm thinking a little more down to the downside. We'd have an inflection point there. It could continue down, but I'm really leaning towards it heading higher. I think it should. And honestly, I think one thing we've not been seeing as this war been resuming is the dollar skying up or gold going heavily down. So I think there's a pretty obvious candidate for flight to safety here, and it should be gold. And precious metals. I think we might be seeing that transition starting here. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, cheers.